let's go to the next part here, which is an important story in its own right, which is Donald Trump, we sometimes forget, is running for president. Again, it's not like he does all that many events, but every once in a while he pops off on national politics. And look, we should never count him out. His new tweet, or truth, I should say, on abortion is ruffling a lot of feathers, revealing something about the inside of his psyche, GOP tactics, how exactly things went for the midterms, and who's to blame. So let's go ahead and put it up there on the screen, and I will read from it in full. Quote, "It wasn't my fault that Republicans didn't live up to expectations in the midterms. I was 233 to 20. He's talking about his endorsement record. It was the, quote, abortion issue, poorly handled by many Republicans, especially those that firmly insisted on no exceptions, even in the case of rape, incest, or the life of the mother, that lost large numbers of voters. Also, the people that pushed so hard for decades against abortion got their wish from the U.S. Supreme Court and just plain disappeared, not to be seen again. Plus, Mitch Stupid Monies." My personal favorite is the Mitch Stupid Monies there.
What does that mean, Saagar? I don't know what that means.
It could mean a variety of things. It could say that Mitch did not spend enough money in the right areas, although here we're talking about the midterms, not the Senate races, or the House, not the Senate races necessarily. Look, I think that this is all about blame casting, and it is also a very precarious situation that Trump finds himself in. He, of course, was the most, I guess, pro-life champion in modern American history. He appointed the justices that overturned Roe versus Wade. At the same time, Trump, look, I'll just say this. I don't think he ever really cared about the abortion issue. He thought he could use it in order to garner votes, and he certainly did. But he, at a core level, also kind of understood just how fundamentally unpopular the abortion ban position is. He is now basically trying to square out an abortion moderate position for the Republican Party, which is definitely more in step with the opinions of the American people, but widely out of step with almost every Republican elected official, and specifically the pro-life base, who have really held them hostage, or have really just garnered purity tests from them for a long time. The reason I'm really worried, or I'm really like tracking this, is because the pro-life groups themselves are now in a very interesting situation where, are they going to speak out against somebody who they went to bat for in 2016? And then will it induce other people like Ron DeSantis, Mike Pence, and others to garner their support in an upcoming presidential primary? So let's put the next one that is up there on the screen, because this is very important. You have basically a pro-life group that is actually firing back at Trump after having backed him and his policies while he was in the administration for years. So to have that Susan B. Anthony group go back against Trump actually shows you that these are people who went to bat for him in 2016. They really appreciated having Mike Pence on the ballot with Trump. For them to actually come out against him, and now in a potential primary situation almost, Krystal, it just creates a dynamic where I think it almost ensures some sort of Mike Pence candidacy, which will bleed some 7% or something of the vote. Mike Pompeo as well, possibly trying to get that. And then, Ron DeSantis. And you're almost recreating a 2016 dynamic. So we have two storylines here. Like, one is the actual political analysis that I think Trump is fundamentally correct about. Of course, conveniently erases Stop the Steal as well, being a major problem. And then the second part is it opens up a major political opportunity for pro-lifers in a Republican primary, not necessarily with the general electorate.
Yeah, well, 2016 worked out well for him, didn't it? So I personally actually think that this was an intelligent move on his part. Yes, the Republican base is in a different place than most of the country on abortion, but you have, I just looked it up, only 8% of adults say abortion should be against the law in all cases without exception. So Trump is on the correct side with regards to American people. He's also strongly on the correct side with regard to the Republican base. And it does remind me of that like 2015, 2016 dynamic for the first time in a long time, where, remember, Trump would say something that it was supposed to be like, oh, you can't say that if you're running in the Republican Party, and the Iraq War being case in point, but other economic issues as well, like saying we're going to preserve Social Security and Medicare, supposed to be like, you can't say that and win a Republican primary. But it turned out he understood what the actual voters in the Republican base thought, a lot more so than the other candidates who were more in step with what the sort of like activist organization leaders, what they thought on the issue. So, you know, the other thing that this does for him effectively is he was half right in this analysis because he said abortion was a problem for Republicans. That's true. The part that he was half wrong on was saying it had nothing to do with me. I'm actually great. And, you know, he didn't say this directly, but stop the steal was no problem for these candidates. That clearly is not the case. But by setting up this abortion fight, he's on much stronger ground for himself. It kind of causes people to, you know, debate this issue and was this a problem for Republicans and where do people stand on this particular issue, and puts him on stronger ground with regards to the primary. So I actually personally think politically it was an intelligent move. I think opening up a lane for a Mike Pence or a like evangelical right candidate to get in, be the hard line, I want the national abortion ban candidate. I think having more candidates in the race ultimately only benefits Trump. Now, again, I continue to think he is at a significantly weakened position from where he was previously. Our commentary about the speaker's race and how his endorsement had literally no effect on it. If anything, it actually set things backwards a little bit after he came out in full-throated support for Kevin McCarthy, is an emblem of that weakness. But this was the first little throwback vibes to the old Trump that I've seen in a while.
I agree, and that's why I was intrigued to see it happen. And then I was like, oh no, this is going to cause a raucous primary situation, which probably only more guarantees his at least renomination for the GOP party. I mean, it is just, look, I mean, I think his biggest problem is with Stop the Steal. Can he actually be disciplined? Because by leaving it out, you know, not only from the tweet, but also we shouldn't forget, he did not mention abortion in his re-election announcement or I guess his subsequent election announcement. And he did not mention Stop the Steal. But he has since backtracked on Stop the Steal, has been truthing some insane stuff about the vote being stolen. I have not yet seen him do any real public appearance, though, where he has mentioned it. That said, he hasn't done a lot of public appearances. So it all comes down to the question of like his own message discipline. Do we get old Trump, who's kind of ideologically all over the place, or do we just get the self-obsessed narcissist? I'm personally always going to bet on the latter, but you know, you never know in terms of how long he can actually keep it together.
Yeah. Well, he also has something compelling that he can say if he does feel himself on shaky ground with the evangelical right, which turned out to be his most fervent and committed base of support, which is he's the one who got it done. He's the one who got the justices on the bench that gave them their big win. And so, you know, Trump doesn't hold himself to any sort of ideologically consistent position. So when he's in front of those audiences and he feels like he needs to shore up their support, he can tell them what they need to hear while also signaling to others who are, you know, not in the 8% that believe abortion should be illegal in all instances, including, you know, rape, incest, life of the mother, et cetera. You know, when he's talking to that group, he can sound these sorts of notes and sound a lot more reasonable. So, again, I agree with you. I think his brain is so addled and so obsessed with Stop the Steal and election conspiracies. And I think he's been in this Mar-a-Lago bubble. And I think he's been in the Truth Social, like social media ghetto echo chamber for too long. You could see signs of that already even before he left office. I think that has only hardened more. But this was the first little glimmer of like, oh yeah, I remember why this guy romped through the 2015, 2016 Republican primaries. Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now. And Saagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us. And if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.